Hey, by the way, while I'm looking at you two, you had an odd, I mean this with the highest of praise, a defense of the administration's position on not only the trade war, whatever, but on Amazon. Explain. You seem to think there's some wisdom to this that we might be missing.
Well, no, I was just saying that I combed through all of the postal services stuff. It's hard to find where, you know, they won't tell us what the exact deal is with Amazon. We do know it was cut in 2013. We do know that they set their fixed cost for this growth at a certain level, which is about 5.5%, but it's 25% of the business. So that's where the subsidy comes in, a de facto subsidy. And Amazon is smart to take advantage of it.
So they cut a lousy deal.
Huh?
The post office cut a lousy deal.
They cut a very lousy deal.
Right, but the post office was losing money long before Amazon came.
Oh, sure they were. And but again, that's one reason they probably cut a lousy deal.
I gotcha.
Also, Congress, though, tied their hands. And this is the interesting thing. Congress will not allow the post office to compete against FedEx and UPS. Ironically, though, what they've allowed is Amazon to grow large enough where they'll be able to launch their own version of FedEx or UPS. All I'm saying is that, you know, ultimately, I think free markets will take care of this because they always have in the past with respect to
antitrust. Shouldn't the president let free markets take care of this?
I think he should, but I also, if he has a chance to make a better deal for taxpayers and he thinks the post office cut a bad deal, there's nothing wrong with that.
You could go out, Gasparino referenced this earlier, but the Journal had this op-ed on it that it suggested maybe the post office is a better target than Amazon. Like, why are we delivering mail 6 days a week, for one? So if you get rid of a day or two of that, then Amazon's got to deal with something because they don't have the 6 days anymore.
Do you really think this was about the president concerns with the post office?
No, of course. I would think it's about the Washington. I mean, I have no reason to believe it's not about the Washington Post.
And
a
lot
of people
also
there's some legitimacy, though, to the mom and pop thing. We know, we've talked about the Amazon effect. We've talked about it for the last several years. Every year we say X amount of brick and mortar stores went out of business, and we always blame Amazon. This is not President Trump didn't make this up.
But I think also
Walmart,
right?
For that,
there is a distinct difference, though. Walmart was never able to operate at losses. Amazon was able to operate for more than a decade, losing billions of dollars because
Wall Street... Could I ask you this political question? If Jeff Bezos loved Donald Trump, would this be happening?
If the Washington Post ever wrote at least one nice article about him, like once a year, it might not be happening.
But should that even be part of the president deciding to target a company an individual runs?
It shouldn't be, and I think he's trying to be careful on that. But I
don't think he's trying to be careful at all.
But I will say this, though: it also could call the question: should companies that are publicly traded have control a big editorial board that may influence policies that could help their companies?
But I mean, you know, they've come out and said Jeff Bezos is a separate entity from the Washington. But I understand what you're saying.
I'm just saying that the pendulum swings both ways.
I mean, some people have said as well that the president's background is in construction. A lot of his friends are in real estate, including commercial real estate, and they are actually some of the people in his ear because it's bad for their investments in REITs or in malls or in shopping centers, and that's also part of
I think there's been bad blood between Jeff Bezos and Donald Trump for years, and Bezos has been critical of this. It's a free country, but I do think you might regret that point of view, let's say from a Democratic president who might be targeting another industry or company you like, because then it gets to be a slippery slope.
There's no doubt about that. You know, although they're Amazon, we must admit, is a very unique company.
Absolutely.
If they announce tomorrow they're going in any industry in the world, the biggest companies in that industry will lose 10% of their value.
You're right about
and I also think there's 60 million, between 60 and 90 million Amazon Prime customers. 63 million people voted for the president. So I'm just saying, I think that consumers are consumers regardless of politics. They get stuff cheap, they get stuff fast, and it's convenient.
But to Charles's point, whatever the motivation, whether it's cynical or political, things will change. Things are going to change at Amazon. Right?
Yeah, in terms of what?
I don't know. I just think that something. The company now has the most powerful man on the planet looking at what they're doing.
Things have changed in terms of their market valuation since this started. I mean, I don't know if it'll change how they do business.
Or maybe they don't launch something that they wanted to launch. At one point, it was reported they were going to launch a 24/7 QVC kind of channel, which seems to be like a very high-profile thing to do. Maybe that was pulled because they want to keep a lower profile. Maybe that was pulled for a million other reasons that...
So you're saying their next step would have been in cable news?
I don't think cable news. I think it was to sell stuff. But
I mean, ultimately, though, I mean, it's not even just President Trump, right? You know, you got the Bernie Sanders, you got both sides of the aisle. And again, this is not new.
He supports this.
Yeah, this is not new. We have talked about the Amazon effect for a long time. And again, every time they enter another industry, they put themselves up as a bigger target for antitrust legislation at some point.
There is like a 30,000-foot view, though, that this is politically risky for this president. I mentioned this to you yesterday, Charles, that I think that in the early days of the administration, whatever you wanted to say, even for people who didn't like the president at all personally, they always came back to the fact that he was pro-business, he was creating a pro-business environment, he was going to cut your taxes, which he eventually did, going to cut your regulations, which he did a number of times. But it's this story, it's the tariffs, it's even the AT&T Time Warner, going after that with the Justice Department, that you do start to ask questions about how pro-business the administration's been the last few months. I think that's legitimate.
I also think worth pointing out with you saying that the stock has fallen so much. I mean, Amazon is a key holding in a lot of just working people's 401ks and pension funds.
And don't bleed for those shareholders or for Jeff Bezos or
the stock is up right now 68% since inauguration, 75% since President Trump was elected at this moment with the pullback. So, if you're going to blame the president for the last month, maybe they might want to give him credit for the last year.
It's actually 74.6%.
Hey, by the way, I will say though, Donald, you do separate politics though from the votes because the people who voted for Trump aren't the Wall Street elites who are watching the shares of Amazon as much as they think someone should be.
But they might be getting Amazon packages.
And they'll still get them.
Well, not now.
They deliver it to the White House or no?
Well, like I thank you all very much.